All right, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shir David Baruch Hashem. A shvua tov to everybody, a good vach, all our listeners. Hope everyone had a beautiful Shabbos. And it's going to be Rosh Chodesh tonight, Baruch Hashem, Rosh Chodesh year.
When is it?
Tonight, yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
Tonight, Monday and Tuesday. 2 days, Baruch Hashem. Even us here in Israel, we celebrate 2 days. It's the Kiddush, right?
You're going to be gone one of those days, right?
Hmm?
You're gonna be
Yeah.
gone Monday?
Yeah, well, don't worry. Okay. And today we're going to be learning on our Sefira project. So we're learning from the beautiful Sefira from the Daniel Frisch. And today is Hayoim Arba Osa Yoim Shehem Shnei Shavuos Leimer. So today is the 14th day, which is 2 weeks. So we have almost there, right? We're getting closer. 7, right? 5. We have 5 left. Okay. Now, this month we're coming into is really the month of Rabbi Shimon, right? It's the month of Omer, right? The 18th of the month is Lag Ba'omer, and so we're getting ready for the big Yom Tov, for the Torah's Hanister, right? It's the hidden Torah. So we learn a little bit about from this Sefer from the Daniel Frisch. Well, who better? He says like this. So today we're going to understand the midah of Malchus is David HaMelech, right? David HaMelech is Malchus, right? And Yitzchak Avinu is Gvura, right? We learned that, right? We all know that by now, right? We've been doing this for a while, right? So we know that Malchus is David HaMelech, right? And Gvura is Yitzchak Avinu. So he says like this, Beis today, okay? We're going to do Beis. Oidi ten alibay ki kadeshi yiskal is gaber al yetzer. Person wants to be, he wants to take control of his yetzer, right? Right? Sometimes it's a daunting task, right? But if a person wants to be able to do that, right? Yesh leila harbais b'tefillah. So a person has to pray a lot, right? It comes with prayer. It's very simple to understand. We know that Malchus is peh. The mouth is Malchus, right? The peh is Malchus. So if you want to daven a lot to get the Gvura in order to overcome the yetzer, right? That's what it's all about. He says now, al kach habis l'tfila, al kach lifnei abayri is baruch sharei omru. He brings down the statement in the Gemara again. The Mali HaKadosh Baruch Hu Israel. If Hashem is not the one that helps us against the yetzer, we have no chance. He's a very powerful malach, and he's a very conniving, right? He's a very, very conniving malach, right? Very deceitful, right? And if HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't help us, doesn't give us that little edge that we need, we're going to lose. So, okay. It's impossible. Nimsa, Masagis Midas Agvura, they Midas Amalchus. So now you can be overcome the midah of Gvura. You can get the midah of Gvura through Malchus. Right? You want to be powerful to overcome the yetzer, so then you'll use the prayer to Hashem to be able to overpower the yetzer, because it's only because Hashem gives us the power. That's how we can overcome it. And he says in the next part, Efrat yarba adam mitfila ifnei abayis baruch sheyisker lova lemadreges yorei chet. Daven to Hashem that I should be one that fears sin. Right? We say in the morning, we say every day, Reishis Chochma Yiras Hashem Seicha. Right? Reishis Chochma Yiras Hashem. The beginning of Chochma. The first stand that you need if you want to be a smart person, you have to have Yira. Right? So here he says, it's very good. I want to become someone that can overpower Chet, and that's the Shorish of Gvura. Right? The Shorish of Gvura is I want to be able to have the power to have the Yarei Shemayim, to realize Hashem, you're always there. Why would I want to sin? Why do I want to put you through this? Why do I want to put myself through this? And that'll come to support the person, to help the person over his yetzer. Right? In other words, you have to run away things. You have to run away from things. Right? In other words, you have all these different things, right? So you want to certainly stay away from things that you're not sure of, right? Things you're not sure of, because you never know. You wind up sinning. That's why it's so important. We always learn halacha, right? Because if you learn halacha, the yetzer hara loves one thing: safek, right? Amalek, which is he's the agent of the Sedracha, right? Is the gematria of safek, right? Doubt, right? That's his greatest weapon. The greatest weapon the yetzer hara is putting doubt in our minds to make it. Well, I don't know if I'm doing it right, so why should I bother doing it at all? Right? That's what he loves to do to us. Right? You don't know. But that's why if you learn halacha every day, right? If you learn halacha every day, then you learn what to do, so then you know what to do, and then he can't be putting the suffix into you. You understand? All right. We shouldn't come to the seductions of the yetzer hara. Right, easier. I saw the Moshe Rabbeinu v'ata Yisrael ma Hashem elakecha shoyim imecha kiyim liyira. Right, Moshe Rabbeinu told us, what does Hashem want from us? Ma Hashem elakecha shoyim. What does Hashem ask from us? To fear Him. That's all He wants. Because if we fear HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we won't do the wrong thing, and we'll be always doing the right thing. People think they're going to love Hashem, right? Oh, loving Hashem is very important. Yeah, it's very important, but you have to first have the yira. Love without yira doesn't work. Reishis chachma yiras Hashem. Then you can work on the avos Hashem, right? You have to go away from the bad to do the good. How are you going to get away from the bad? Yiras Hashem. Then you can end up doing good, right? Avraham Avinu choshash mecheso in hayira ad kidei choshash misa, right? Shekein omer rak ein. Good shua tov. The yiras elikim b'makim bazeh v'haguni. Right. So Avraham Avinu was afraid that he was going to get killed. Right, when he went to the battle with the 4 kings against the 5, and then when he went down to Mitzrayim, he said, "Wait a second, sorry, you have to say that you're my sister. If not, they're going to kill me." Why did Avraham even say that? Where was that coming from? Because Avraham is the midah of Chesed. He's the midah of Ahava. He didn't have the yira so much, so he was thinking, since I'm not the midah of yira, only my son will be the midah, but he wasn't born yet. So he wasn't attached to the midah of yira, therefore he was afraid, maybe they're going to come and kill me. You can fix the midah of gevura through malchus. Okay, one more time. So we have to say, like we said, if Hashem isn't helping us, we're never going to have the edge over the yetzer. It's impossible. And how are we going to get the edge of the yetzer? We daven to Hashem. Malchus is peh, right? So therefore, and he brought the example. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, "Ma Hashem elakecha shoyim mincha ki im liyira." Right? It's all about yiras Hashem. And then you can work afterwards against Hashem on the Ahavas Hashem. Okay, so this is the midah of Malchus Shebigvura, which is a beautiful, beautiful idea to help us out. Okay, okay. So let's go into Likutey Halachos now. Okay, here we go. So we're in Likutey Halachos. Does anyone have any questions on that? We understand it? Malchus Shebigvura, we got it. Right, daven to Hashem, to have the gevura, to have the power to overcome the yetzer hara, because otherwise it's not going to work. Okay, that's in short. Okay, now we're back to here. We're in Hilchos Masa Matan. We're in the law that we called it. We pegged it the business law, and we're in Halacha Daled, and today we're up to Zayin. Okay, so Vav on Erev Shabbos we learned what? Daled Zayin, yes sir. Yeah, the other day we were learning on Erev Shabbos, Kodesh Baruch Hashem. So we were learning this idea from the Roshei Prokim, okay, and we were learning about Sefira, we're learning about Shvuas, and then he said, we ended off, Im Yia Hashem Imadi V'Yizbaru Kitzas. I'll explain a little bit, and here he goes now, Zion. He's going to explain what we were learning, those short pointers on Erev Shabbos. Here we go. Okay, so now we're going to learn about the idea of Emunah and Hashgacha pratis. This is a very, very, very important thing. It's a fundamental belief of our Emunah, right? That there's such a thing as Hashgacha pratis, right? That everything that is ordained by Hashem, that Dalit and Zayin, so 4 and 7, okay? V'nachzir levoyer kitzas ki ikar kabbalas haTorah tluya be'emunas hashgacha pratis. The whole idea of the Torah is with hashgacha pratis. Knowing the whole point of the Torah, everything, is to recognize Hashem's control over the world. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You
You have the wrong book?
Part 2.
That's
Or
2?
if I'm 2, part 1.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it is. Sorry.
You're in the wrong sefer. That's why you don't find it. Okay.
You have to have the right
Why
one.
don't you put those back away? David, you want to take the? We'll put these away. The one this way.
Yeah, we don't need the old ones anymore. Yeah.
Well, wait.
Is there one here?
No, that's a Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. That's good. He has one. That's good. You found the right one. You got that, Yossi? Good? Okay. So, Oz Shayich, here we go. So again, if you understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is involved in the inner intricacies of every single person's life, everything. Shayich is Shayich Hashem, right? And therefore the mitzvah, that means that a person will then do mitzvahs, and he won't do averas, right? V'avera, mitzvah v'avera, right? If a person understands that Hashem is watching me, and he knows, let's see, did I daven today? Yes, Hashem knows if I daven today. Right? In avera, Hashem knows if I did something I shouldn't do. Right? I ate something I shouldn't, chas v'shalom. Right? Hashem knows that. But if you don't believe in Hashgacha pratis, so then you don't believe that anything I do counts. Right? Only if you realize Hashem is watching everything, and He sees everything, and He cares about everything we do. Isn't that amazing? Hashem cares about every little thing we do. We affect things in the upper worlds. Us little people down here, we affect big things up in the next world, in the celestial world. Everything is dependent on us.
That's a big Emunah.
Huh?
That needs a big Emunah.
No, I understand, but listen, what does Shulchan Aruch say? Remember, Shivisi Hashem L'negdi Summit. But what does that mean? That means Hashgacha pratis, right?
Well, I can know it
Wait.
intellectually.
What does Shivisi Hashem L'negdi Summit, Hashem? What does that mean?
Hashem is just watching everything.
He's with me. All the Shivisi Hashem L'negdi. What does L'negdi mean?
Right here.
He's right here with me. No, but why do you think Shulchan Aruch starts with that? Because you're not going to do any of the mitzvahs unless you understand that, right? In other words, unless you understand that Hashem is with me right now, right? And unless we understand that we have a neshama, right? That's the most important thing to remember, to remind ourselves. We have a neshama. That's what keeps us alive, correct?
We are on the Shabbat.
Right. No, we have a neshama in our guf.
But the Shabbat is what we are. The goof is...
Yes, but the problem is sometimes we get lost in the guf, and we don't recognize the neshama aspect.
Right.
Right, that's the problem. Yeah, you're right. A tzaddik is a neshama. Right? A tzaddik is a neshama. Why is a tzaddik a neshama? Because he only recognizes the neshama. He doesn't pay attention to the guf. He doesn't pay attention to the guf.
Ned said, I was thinking this morning that it would say, Neshama Shem Dod, V'atid L'tlo Mimeni.
You take it away from me, right?
Who's me then?
The guf.
Me as the group or me as the Neshama?
No, he's take the neshama, put it back from you, from inside you, then it's just the guf. Then we put the body in, the body has to go in the ground, and it gets rebuilt. Remember we learned that, right? The body gets rebuilt. Right, because the problem is we all have that. We were all tainted by the Chet Adam and Chava, right? We all come from Chava, right? And Chava was had the problem with the Nachas, so we all have that in us. So if we purify our guf, right? So then we're great. right? That's why the tzaddikim, right? There's many times they dug up tzaddikim and they saw that the bodies were totally intact. They were totally intact, right? There's many stories like that. The most recent one was the Naim Elimelech in Lezhensk, with the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, right? Right? They dug up his body. They wanted to see if he was buried with a lot of jewelry. Because the Goyim bury them the bodies with their fancy watch and their jewelry, everything else. So if you go, the great rabbi, the Herr Rabbiner, right? Oh, he's going to be buried. He probably has gold bars in his thing. But then they were petrified when they saw that the body was just, and he died over 100 years ago. Right? So it's amazing, right? Amazing. Yeah. All right, so the main point is that we have the guf, but we have a neshama. Remember that. Okay? And then the only way you're going to remember that, if you remember Hashgacha pratis. Right? Hashem is watching everything that happens because Hashem wills it to happen. Like we learned about it. Why should we get upset when someone says something? It was just a test. Right? Hashem had the person say it, right? Right? Something comes in front of you that is not dressed properly, right? So what is that? That's a test. What are you going to do? Right? Hashem sent it that way. He sent it there. So you say, but why does he do that? Because he wants to test us.
Sometimes I wish you wouldn't send my wife to test me so much.
Yeah, okay. Schar v'oinish. And we understand there's such a thing. So another thing, we have the idea of schar, and we have onish, right? We get reward, and we get punished. We're just learning today, the amalcha shebigvur, right? The idea, yarei chet, right? Okay, onish. Ki ein dava nela mimenu ve'ein nista mineged eina, because there's nothing hidden from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything he sees, it's all revealed to Hashem. A person can hide himself in his basement, right, in his mamad, and close the door, right, and the windows closed, and he thinks I'm here by myself. No. Hashem's with you, right? Hashem's with you. Uyez barach boiche batoyro v'mitzvos amasiyos anasin b'zeh olam agashmin b'dvarim gashmin. Hashem chooses that we do mitzvahs from things of this world, right? You use things of this world of creation in order to do your mitzvahs, right? We just put on our tefillin, Baruch Hashem, right? So where did the tefillin come from? It came from a kosher animal, right? An animal that had something that was mutar b'picha, right? We learned that. Remember, it has to be an animal that's something that you were able to, when it was alive, to slaughter it, to be able to consume it. Remember, we learned that, right? Right? All right, but it comes from an animal, creation, right? You have you have your daled minim. Where did it come from? The 4 species are from things that were created. Your sukkah, it has to be from things of this that was created. The talis, right? The talis comes from the wool. Cotton, whatever you make your talis out of, right? Whatever it is. But it's something from this world. All mitzvahs come from something as well. But if someone denies the Torah, right? If he denies the Hashgacha pratis, right? It's easy to do that, right? Well, I can't see Hashem. I don't know who gave us all this stuff. I don't know where it came from, right? People say that, right? People say that. Who kaifer b'chol Torah kula? So if a guy is kaifer in Hashgacha pratis, he's actually denying the whole Torah. Not only is he denying that Hashem is with me, and Hashem is watching me, and Hashem cares if I do this or I don't do this, right? But he's actually denying the entire Torah, because that's the premise to violate the entire Torah. And this is known to everybody.
Yes, thank you. Reb Nas.
No, but this is really, I mean, if you think it through, what he just said, it's so true, right? If you don't believe Hashem is with me, so then I can do anything I want, right? But if you believe Hashem is with you, so then you will wind up following, you'll have the Yiras Hashem, which will bring you to the Ahavas Hashem, which you'll do you won't do the negative commandments, and you'll do the positive commandments, correct?
Sometimes I can't help myself, even though I know it.
Yeah.
Even in my head, I'm thinking he's here, and I still go ahead and do the sin.
Okay, so then you have to daven that we just said. You have to pray to Hashem. That's it. We
Well,
have to.
you said even before with Malchut Shevagura that you don't stand a chance.
Right.
The Gemara said in Sukkah. It's a Gemara in Sukkah.
That you don't
Imalei
say.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ezrei Efsha.
yetzer. So like the system was designed where there's this force that is much bigger than you, who's there to take you down. He's doing push-ups right now. Saying,
He's in the
I'm
gym,
going
right?
to bury
He's
more
doing a
God.
Stairmaster.
Yeah, yeah, with like a picture of your face saying, "I'm going to get you," and
Target
you
practice.
don't stand, and
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not going to be able to beat him yourself. So like you have. So the only way to do that is to get God's help.
God. How do you get God's help? Talk.
Is talking. Right.
Malchus is peh, right? Malchus is peh, right? That's it. We got to daven. That's it. We got to daven. That's why his both of this is such an important thing, right? The Rebbe says spend an hour a day talking to Hashem, because if not, it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. Okay, Val Kain, Kol Torah Hu Bechines Einayim. The whole Torah is about the eyes, seeing. Einei Chalelecha, like we said before, right? Einei Chalelecha is Aberu, right? It's all about the eyes, seeing. The Bechines Bereshis, Shu Ascholas HaTorah. Bereshis is the beginning of the Torah, right? Bereshis is the beginning of the Torah. Tamin, Roshei, right? Bechines Bereshis is the remez, is Roshei. Tamin, what's that? Tamin Bas, right? What's that? He's going to say, Sheheim Telas Givonim De'ena. You have the three colors in the eye, and then you have also the three colors in the eye, and then you have also the pupil of the eye. Right? You have the three colors of the eye and then the pupil. Right? Ki ikar, he's gonna explain, don't worry. Ki ikar klolius haTorah hu bechinas einayim. The whole Torah is about the eyes. Seeing what you see. That's why it's such a big effort on the idea to have shmiras einayim, right? The whole idea is about shmiras einayim. Watching what you see, so you see the Torah. Like we learned on Erev Shabbos, the whole point of staying up the night on Shavuos is to make a tikkun for the einayim. Right, you're fixing your eyes by staying up. Your eyes want to go to sleep now, right? But now I'm going to keep them up, right? I'm going to keep these eyes open now to see what? The Torah. And we're going to learn, he's going to go again. When Tikkel Leil Shavuos, the whole idea is you start the Torah and you end, right? You start a parsha, you end the parsha. Start a parsha, end the parsha. Start a Sefira, end a Sefira, right? That's the whole point. Is we said kol haschala is kosher, but it's even more difficult to end, right? We're gonna get okay. Bechinas
You say that the Shavuos is tikkun for bris, right?
tikkun for bris, yes, it's tikkun for, but it's tikkun for the einayim. The einayim is the start of the bris, right? That's where it starts, right? Einayim rois v'alev chomad v'klei amayso. I said, right, okay. Okay, bechinas re'iyah v'hashgacha, right? This whole idea of re'iyah and hashgacha, it's all one thing, right? Re'iyah and hashgacha, right? Einei chalelecha is abei. We all look to Hashem, and then of course Hashem looks back to us, right? That's the whole idea is re'iyah, right? We had the Ora Yosha and the Ora Choser. Remember we learned the Ora Yosha, Ora Choser, which is connected to lesson 76 in Likutey Moran. And Metz Hashem Reb Chaim is going to give the lesson on lesson 76 this week on Tuesday, God willing. Okay? Mordechai, I should clear your schedule and make sure you go there. Okay? All right. Nahainu. She'onu ma'aminim b'ashkachosai b'frotiyas shehu yizbarach tzayfe u'mabid v'roya. Look at these words here. Look at it. Tzayfe. Right? Like he's looking really good. U'mabid. Gay, looking at it. V'roya, and he sees. Right? All these different large lashonis of seeing, looking. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking at everything. He's seeing everything. Umashkiach tamid al kol dava v'dava biprat. Every single thing and every single nuance. Everything. Nothing goes by. Every thought. Look, we have one of the karbanas is a carbon ola. What's a carbon ola for? If a person had a thought about avodah zarah, he has to bring a carbon, a burnt offering. Wait a second. So that means Hashem knows my thoughts also. How does he know? How does he know our thoughts? Where do we say when we put on our tefillin? Shaneshama shebimaichi. Right, Shaneshama. When you put on your tefillin, right, you say the Shem Yichud before you put on the tefillin. Right. So what do we say in there? Shaneshama bimaichi. My neshama is in my mind. Mayach is the mind. Right. The neshama is in the mind.
Is that right? Is that where it is? That's the physical part. Yeah, I know.
Yes, you read this.
No, I know that. It's not okay. It's not in, like, I don't know. It's like the heart or.
No. We see the neshama is in the brain. The nefesh is in the heart. Yeah. Okay. K'mayshe kosav mimechayin shiftay. Oh, look at this. Mimechayin shiftay heshkiach al kol yoshvei aretz. Right. So Hashem is sitting up in his on his kisei hakavod up there, whatever that means, wherever that is. But he's watching everything down here. El kol yoshvei aretz. He sees everything that goes on in the world. Right? Everything that goes on in the world. It's fascinating. It's really amazing, and and it's really like the Torah says, Tamid Einei Hashem Elekecha Ba Mereishis Hashana Nach Rishana. Right? The pasuk says, Tamid Einei Hashem Elekecha Ba. Right? Tamid Einei Hashem Elekecha Ba Mereishis Hashana Nach Rishana. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is paying very close attention to Eretz Yisrael. Right? Vayedei Zeh Sh'anu Maminim B'Hashgacha Yisborach Anu Mechavnin. Oh, so wait a second. So it works like that. So we realize that. And we have the hashgacha. That we were mechavin the eyes of our thought, right? Of our das. Right? The eyes of our das. We see things in a new way. Elav tamid Hashem, v'chinas eini tamid el Hashem. My eyes are always looking towards Hashem. Right, I'm always looking up to the one that's dwelling up in Shemayim. Who's that? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? Even though Hashem is up on high. And he's much greater than anything he created. Of course, Hashem created everything. So, of course, the creator is greater than the thing. Right? You want to say something, David?
Yeah.
Right? Someone created something, right? But if a person's a great artist, right? He's a great artist, right? You have a great artist, and he made the painting. And it was looking, ooh, wow, that's amazing. Wow. But the artist is still greater than the painting. He made the painting. Right? So the artist is greater than what he made, right? If a person made a sculpture, right? The guy was such a talented guy and he made a sculpture, but the guy that made the sculpture is greater than the sculpture, right? Can we understand that?
I don't understand. Like Bezalel, he was...
The person is greater than what he created.
The sculpture can't make another sculpture.
The car. What does he call? What do you call a sculpture? The sculpture. The sculpture can make another sculpture, and the painter can paint another painting. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is he made everything in this world, so of course he's much greater than everything in this world. Right? I'm just giving you examples. Right? Okay. Even still, he's so great, but he watches every little thing. Right? He watches every little thing to make sure everything is okay. He watches everything to make sure it's okay. You know, when I was a kid, my grandfather bought me this beautiful train set. Anyone had an electric train set?
Yeah.
You did? Yeah, I was unbelievable.
My grandfather was a conductor for New Jersey Transit, Amtrak. Love trains.
No. So he got me this train set, and then I wound up buying a piece of plywood that was 4x8. A big piece of plywood, right? And I had to put the grass on it, and then had to put the tracks and made the switching tracks. And then when I went to get the mountains for it and build all the things for it, and I was just always watching over to make sure everything was running just right. Every time I learned this, I remember that. It was amazing. Now here, it was such a silly thing, right? I made a little train set, right? And I was so careful to watch over it, right?
Lionel, right?
It was Lionel, yeah.
American
H.O. It was H.O. I remember H.O. at the side.
little one.
Yeah, the small ones, yeah. Yeah, you had the big ones. What was the big one?
Lionel and American Flyer.
Oh, whatever. Whatever. Those are the...
American Express.
No, I remember, it was amazing. It was, so I tried to remember, as in life, you see, so you can realize, so if you made a train set, you were so careful for it, so can't you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the world, isn't he overseeing everything in the world to make sure it runs just right?
And it had to be just right.
Had to be, the train would fall off the train, exactly. Right, they had to make smoke, right, on the engine, right, to put the stuff in there.
The little capsules.
It was cute, right? It was cute. I was remembering back.
The transformer.
Yeah, the little switching thing over there. No, but I'm just giving you a silly example. But I'm just trying to show you something where, of course, if we make something down here, of course, you're gonna Hakadosh Baruch Hu created the whole. He made everything, the firmaments, all of creation. Of course, Hakadosh Baruch Hu is watching what happened, what's going on. He takes care of it. So how could I say that Hashem made it and He's not watching it? That wouldn't be nice. Wait, you made something, you don't watch it? Ataklis nekudas hamerkas, the center point, shel ha'olam hagashmi v'chol asher by everything that's in here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is intricately involved in every little nuance of every different thing. It's amazing. And you can go out of your mind thinking about it. Right? How everything goes on. Every little blade of grass and every bird and every bug and every fish and every animal in everywhere of the world, every second, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is dealing with everything at one time. And every person, right? The billions of people.
He can multitask and we can't.
Yeah. K'maisha kasav mi kashem elekeinu hamagbi lashaves hamashpili lirois b'shemayim b'aretz. So we're going to say Hallel tomorrow, right? You know these words, right? Okay. V'zeu ikar klolius haTorah ki hapoigim b'koifer eze kvira b'olma. If someone has any kind of kvira at all, in this idea of the hashgacha pratis, right? He's a kaifa b'chola Torah kulai. Now, does this sound like Rav Nosson? Rav Nosson is usually the nicest guy, and he's always giving everyone hope, and he's always he's always trying to get But here he's saying, whoa, if you do this, I'm sorry, no hope for you at all. You're out. You're down and out. Why? Because think what was going on, right? Where did the Haskalah come from? It started in Germany, and then it made its way to Eastern Europe. It made its way to Moscow, to Russia, right? It made its way all around, and it was really something crazy was going on. It's still happening today, right? You have the Reformed, the Reconstructionist, Conservative, whatever they are, whoever's left. There's all these new ideas that are coming up to take away from this Hashgacha pratis. That's all it is. And that's why Rav Nosson is so strong on this idea. A person can go out of his mind, who api koiris v'akoifer hamuskar b'chol divrei Rabbeinu Zechroinim levracha shu gerua mishumad. Worse than a person that even was made shmad. He left the religion. It's worse than that. You see what Rav Nosson is saying? Look at this. Because that's what's going to happen to the guy. Umumar. He's worse than a mumar. It doesn't get worse than that, right? This is worse. I don't have to explain this to you.
It's very clear in his explanation.
It doesn't need any explanation, right? You see that?
If you deny any providence
of Hashem in the world, then you're done. You're done. But we have to think about this, right? Again, why does Shulchan Aruch start with Shavisi Hashem L'Negdi Summit? Because the Shulchan Aruch is saying, hey guys, you need to know this if you're going to follow the Torah, that Hashem is with you. It means if Hashem is with me, He's watching everything that He sees.
So I want to know why that particular cookie was my cookie and I chose it. There's something Hashgacha Pratis about that?
Yeah, because we spoke about that. When there's a plate of
that's
cookies,
why I'm bringing it up.
right? When there's a plate of cookies and they're all the same, they were made in the factory and they dumped them onto the table on the plate, right? And then when you looked at the plate, you said, "Oh, that one, I want that cookie." Anyone ever do that?
Of course.
Right? You're looking at, they're all the same. They're all, let's say you have chocolate chip cookies, right? They're all the same chocolate chip, but you're just looking at the plate. You go, "I want that one," and then the guy takes that cookie before you can get it. Well, you took my cookie. Ever happen?
But they're not all the same.
Seemingly they're the same.
Seemingly, yeah.
Seemingly they're the same. They came out of the package. They were made in the factory, right? They're made in the
I'm trying
factory.
to understand. So what's going on when I pick that cookie?
Because, when it was Rosh Hashanah and Hashem decided what you were going to get for the year, so that flour, that cocoa, that sugar, right, that water, those eggs, or whatever was in there, were all designed for you, right? So that's why you said, "Oh, that's for me, that's mine." Right? We learned the idea with the same idea with people have certain things, right? And I can't take yours because Hashem gives me what I need and He gives you what you need. I can't take from you because that was for you. And if I steal from you, I'm taking what Hashem decided to give to you. That's why it's such a terrible thing to steal, right?
You see that with kids sometimes.
Huh?
You see that with kids, play cookies and somebody, "No, that's the one I wanted."
That's the one I wanted, right? There you
They
go.
go crazy about it.
And they go crazy. There you go. But that's the whole point, right? Because if there's something is an atiyah, there's something drawing them that they want that. They have that atiyah. I need that one.
I had something different happen this Shabbos.
Okay, so share it.
Which is, my wife had made a container of cookies,
Oh.
and we were at the Shabbos table, and the container was out there, and they were very good, and I liked them. They were very good. So I said, "Can I just have another one?" So I said, "Can you pass the container? Because I want to pick out my cookie, just like this." So she decided to pick out the cookie for me. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I asked for. I wanted the container. I know what cookie is good for me, not you. So I said,
Oh, your wife gave you the container?
No,
She gave you the cookie.
The cookie. I asked for the container. I don't know what to take. Don't worry.
No, but each
I made a
kigufay.
I made a mistake.
No, each
Something
wait a second.
simple.
Each
I know.
So therefore, she knew exactly what you need.
Yeah. Yeah. I
didn't
didn't
think so.
know that.
Huh?
I didn't think so.
But you wanted that.
I wanted, and I paid the price. And then I said,
So what happened?
I asked. I said, no. I said, it's okay. Like, don't. I said, just give me the container.
I'll pick my cookie.
And she did, but
It blew.
I don't know how long it will take to recover from that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I know these are simple. I know. I'm telling you, the simple cookie. No, I realized that in there. I should have.
It's an amazing. We're talking about. He brings up the cookie today, and he had a story with the cookie today, and we're learning something. It's amazing. What is it?
I was like, no, you know what?
This is all Hashgacha Pratis. You see that? Wait a second. This is all Hashgacha Pratis, right?
For sure. It hit me immediately. Like, wow, how much of a tikka now I need to do on this? I need to dig out of this hole in a sense. I actually even went for another cookie just so I could show how much I love these cookies. They're so good. You made them. They're delicious.
Covered Shabbos Kodesh.
I want
Covered Shabbos Kodesh.
A little bit, whatever. I know when I see it, a little bit burnt, a little bit rounder, whatever it is. And okay.
You know, it's funny. My wife doesn't want to choose me. Like, if I want a piece of challah, I say, "You just hand." She said, "No." She hears the whole thing,
And you
so
take it.
the one
You want? Yeah. Well, that's
I want. It's fascinating. It is. It's fascinating.
Yeah, you see
Every
that?
time there's a disagreement between a couple, one party is wrong and your wife is right.
That's how it works.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
How many
Sarah's
cookies? We
always
always
right.
compromise. We do it her way.
too.
All right, so let's go. We can do another piece. Let's do another piece. Okay, we have time.
Yeah.
We have time. Okay, good. Let's go on. Okay, now here we go. So now here we keep it. Ches. Ubeshvil zeh Sefira Sefira Saim Sheva Shabbosos Kaidim Kabbalas HaTorah. How do you like that? Come on, this is very nice. The Rosh Prakim is where we're holding right now. Unbelievable. And then again, this lesson in 76 is really connected to all of this, so it's fascinating. Okay, Kodim Kabbalah Shu Hachana LeKabbalah Satorah, right? The whole idea of Sefira is getting us ready for Kabbalah Satorah, right? We all know that, right? We were in Mitzrayim. We came out of Mitzrayim we were on the 49th level of impurity. So every day we count the Sefira, right? We shed a level of impurity and we rise a level of impurity, correct? Right? We get rid of a level of impurity and we go up one. The second day we get rid of 2, we go up another one. 3, we get up and go up another one. Right? And that's how we get to the 49th level of Kedusha, and then Shavuos is the Yom HaChasna, and Shavuos is the 50th gate. Okay? Here we go. So now he says like this now. Ki anofes ha'omer sa'orim hu b'shvil lahamshich al yedei zeh Emunah and Hashgacha protes shu yesod kol ha'Torah kula. Right? So again, those that weren't here on Erev Shabbos, so we were learning the idea about the omer sa'orim. Right? So it's an interesting thing that it's called the omer sa'orim. Right? Everything was always asira sa'efa. Omer, right? It was always a tenth of the omer. This was a complete omer, right? A complete omer. Right? It shows that, right? Emunah and Hashgacha he said Torah hanafas omer. Okay? And we said that what was he waving? He was waving barley. What's sa'orim? Barley, right? I was waving, which we said is really compared to animal food. Correct? Mm-hmm. What do animals eat? They eat barley, right?
Not today.
Huh?
Not today.
Not today? They don't eat it anymore?
No, today is like everything is raw and more expensive. The whole flour is more expensive than the clean flour.
No, but I understand. But like for animals in a farm, they feed animals barley.
Yeah. No, I'm saying they feed man barley too. So.
Yeah, today, but we're mixed up today, right? That's why we eat barley today, yeah. Yeah, just remember, whatever, that's an okay. Whatever, okay. And therefore he would wave it in all the 6 directions. Right? This is connected to also Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, right? Echad. Right? They're all 6 directions, right? And HaKadosh Baruch we said that the Echad in Shema, right? We say the Aleph is for Hashem is 1, right? The Ches of Hashem of Echad is what? Is that there's the 7 firmaments, and down here, that's the 8, right? And then the Dalid is the 4 directions of the world, right? The four directions. So you have up and down and all around. Right, that Hashem is the minion, he's in charge of everything, up on high, down here, and all around, everywhere is all inclusive of Hashem. Ki haya meilech umevi lemi l'sha'ar baruch. Said he would wave these things, he would be meilech umevi, he would wave it out like a lulav. Like the same way you shake your lulav, you put it out and take it in. Right, you do it also in all 6 directions, correct? With the lulav. That's what we do with our lulav, right? The same idea, to show Hashem's control over the world. That's why you shake your lulav in all 6 directions. So we had that on Pesach, and we have it on Sukkot, right? On Sukkot, we wave our lulavim. On Pesach, the Kohen, he would take the omer and he would wave it in the 6 directions. L'mi she'arba ruchos ha'olam shaloi, to who the 4 ruchos of the world are to Hashem, right? Malu moirid, L'misha shemayim v'aretz shalai, to who the heaven and the earth belongs to it, which is Hashem. Okay, kidei lekasher kol ha'olam v'anagosei la'Hashem yisbarach, in order to connect the world and all of creation back to Hashem. Right, Hashem, so to say, makes it that we have the bechira. Right, he takes away, he gives us the free choice to say, well, it's yours, Hashem, not yours. That's our free choice. But what we do is he gives us the choice, so we bring everything back and attribute everything back to Hashem. Correct? You understand? Leman das kol amei haaretz. That way everybody should know. Amei haaretz. Everybody should know. Ki hakol mekusha elav. Everything is connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ki hu yizbarach mashkiach tamid b'hashgacha protes al kol protei abriya. Again, Rav Nosson really wants us to understand this concept, right? Down to the cookie. It's amazing. Shezeh Said Kavanas Kriya Shema. That's the idea of, like we said, of saying Kriya Shema. It's the same idea. Tzrichin l'chavei be'echad kedei la'amlichoi l'mala or l'mata mi'arba ruchos, like I just explained to you a second ago, right? Now, the whole idea of the echad is to connect, to make HaKadosh Baruch Hu the king on all four directions, up on high and down here. Okay? Hayne sheneda be'emunah shalema, shehu yizbarach melech al kol haaretz u'malchusay b'kol mashallah. Right? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is melech al kol haaretz. He's the king on everything of the world. So it's not the world leaders, it's not our prime ministers or presidents, it's not the Knesset, it's not the Congress, it's not, nothing. It's all Hashem. He's running the whole thing. And he wants us to recognize him. Right? He wants us to recognize him. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu does all the things in the world just to us to recognize him. It's fascinating. Right? This is the situation. Hashem wants to be recognized in the world. V'amalchus v'hashgacha afilu kol ha'olam hagashmi hazeh hu al yodai yizbarach ba'atzmei ki Hashem hamlucha, because Hashem is the king. He's the kingdom. Hashem is the kingdom. It's all Hashem. We're all part of Hashem's kingdom. Right? You go into Disney, they say that's the animal kingdom, right? They have their thing, right? You're entering the world. But it's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's all Hashem over the entire world. And the day that we'll recognize that, and our government here will recognize that, watch, everything will be so different. Everything will be so different. Everything will be so different. Hashem is just trying to do things in order to get us to have achdus. He wants us to have achdus, and he wants us to recognize him. Those are the two things that we have to remember. That's the idea of Kriya Shema. And we understand what is Kriya Shema? We're being Makabel Ol Malchus Shemayim. What is Kriya Shema? Right? Everybody knows, right? What's Kriya Shema? Being Makabel Ol Malchus Shemayim. I'm accepting upon myself the idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is his Malchus upon me and everything in the world. That's what Kriya Shema is all about. K'mevaya Sham, she'ikir kavanas Kriya Shema l'kasher l'yached bechinas malchus l'HaKadosh Baruch Hu ayin sham. Right? The whole point is to connect everything back to Hashem. Connect everything back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the whole point of Kriya Shema. That's the whole point of everything in life. She'neida be'emunah shleima she'anhagas ha'olam, that everything being done in this world, Shazel Bechinas Malchus, it's part of Hashem's kingdom. Okay? Shu Melech u'Meishel u'Shalit u'Manik ha'olam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the king. He's the Meishel, he's the ruler, Shalit, and he's conducting, controlling, u'Manik ha'olam. Zois ha'anhaga mikusheretz u'miyechedes elav yizbarach levade. Only Hashem does this. It's no one else. Yes, Hashem has his malachim and he has his different things, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu is controlling all of them. Right? Again, we have the tier system, right? Right? Tiers, right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is on the top, and he's controlling everything that tells which malachim have to do what, and so on, and it's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu running the entire situation. Without HaKadosh Baruch we have nothing, right? Kihul levade is baruch manig u'meishel b'chol ha'olam. Nimsa. Shebe'emes lamik shehu chacham u'mevin midate. Anyone that's a smart person and he has any kind of das. Kol kavonas harizal v'hazoyer HaKadosh kulam shavim l'makom echad. They all go back to one place. It's like the dartboard, right? Dartboard, the bullseye. That's Hashem, right? They're all going back and talking to the oneness of Hashem. Lekavona apshitos shel klal Yisrael shemechavnim be'echad lamlichoy lamala mata. So we can coronate HaKadosh Baruch Hu upon the entire world, the four directions in this world, and of course up on high.
And again, doing it with the omer is to show this so small, unrefined piece that grew from the land, which God controls, is also in his hashgacha, and we wave it in 6 directions.
All the animals
All
too.
the-
All the animals also.
Animals.
All the animals also.
This little piece of
You're gonna see. He's gonna tell us that.
Omer, that's the thing. You take a piece of gold, take a.
No, but the other Sfarim also say why do we take the omer? Because when we start on Pesach, right, we're on a very very low level, right? We're on a very low level, and we were doing things at that time almost like animals. We do things on instinct, right? The way an animal doesn't think. Animals don't have. They don't think of a repercussion of something. They see something, they act on it, right? So sometimes we act in that way also. We see something, we do it. We don't think, hey, wait, what's going on here? Hashem is watching. What am I doing? What am I doing? We don't catch ourselves. So that's why in the beginning of by Pesach, we take the omer sa'orim, like barley food. Hey guys, that's why you have to eat barley, right? Because we act like animals, right? But when it came to Shavuos, what did we bring? The shtei alechem. Bread, people food. Because we refined ourselves. We refined ourselves.
But it started with that omer.
Started with that, because that's the level we were on. But then as we go through Sefira, we're rising up levels to become to like being human beings. When it comes to the 50th gate, and then I can understand that I do things like a human being where I think. Where I have to think, oh, Hashem is here. Hashem is controlling everything in the world. So why would I even think of doing this? Right? I pray to Hashem, like we learned, Malchus Shebegvur, right? I pray, I need to use my mouth to pray to Hashem. El Molei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ezra, it's to ever be successful, right? Aval eina yetzer im yechavein stam sheHashem yisborach echad ve'ein sheni. Look at this. You're saying Kriya Shema, right? Listen to this. It's very important, right? We say Kriya Shema 3 times a day minimum, right? Right? Minimum 3 times a day. So let's learn a little bit now. What are we supposed to be thinking when we say Kriya Shema? Because we're spending our time saying Kriya Shema, right? So he says like this: Im yechavein stam sheHashem yisborach echad ve'ein sheni. If you have in mind that Hashem is one and there's no two, ki efsher al pi shezeu kavana amitis. That's not the main. That's not the main kavana of what I'm trying to say. Aval eina yetzer bezois hakavana levad ki im lo yechavein rak sheHashem yisborach echad ve'ein sheni adayin lo yechavein liboy lahamim be'emunah and Hashgacha yisborach. Okay, there's no one else. Okay, great. But I didn't take upon myself this understanding of Hashgacha Pratis. That's the main point of Kriya Shema. To realize Hashem is with me. Hashem is here wherever I go. He's in charge of everything. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there, right? There's also some people when they're saying the Kriya Shema, why is it the Dalet of Echad? They're saying they have in mind the Arba Mises Bezdin, right? If I was chayiv on any of the Arba Mises Bezdin, so I take upon myself the 4 Arba Mises Bezdin, whatever Hashem you want, whatever for your covet, Hashem. For your covet, it's all for the honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shu ba'atzmai manig u'moishel ba'ilam. He's the manig u'moishel ba'ilam. Kishe'enei mamin bazeh chas v'sholem hu koifer gomer. He's mamish a kofer. Right? He's mamish a kofer. Right? So someone doesn't believe in Hashgacha Pratis, they're done. They're done. Al Kain Sivoy Sanu Rabbi Seinu Zechon Bracha. Therefore, the Gemara in Brachas on Daf Yud Gimel Amid Beis Laharich Bedalis the Echad. Lengthen the Dalid a little bit. We learned that in Hilchos Kriya Shema, right? You're supposed to say, but don't change the word. Right? Remember we learned that, right? Don't change the word. It still has to be Echad. You can make the Dalid a little longer, but don't change the word itself. Remember we learned that?
Meaning it's beyond just, hey, don't by accident say acher, because that's a real.
That would be.
That defeats the whole thing. It's
yes.
The opposite of everything.
Right.
But it's even more than that. Like there's deeper Kabbalistic.
Yeah, but he's saying, but basically, if you don't believe in Hashgacha Pratis, you're not mekabel upon yourself this idea of Hashgacha Pratis, you didn't accomplish anything in Kriya Shema. You didn't fulfill the mitzvah. We're going to learn about doing mitzvahs l'maisa soon. We're going to get to that. V'alkein tzivay sanu abeseinu zchanu levracha laharich bedalis de'echad kidei lamlichayhu lemala lemata. In order that way I can coronate. I think that's the best word to use. Lamilchayhu lemala ulemata. Right, up on high and below. Kizeu ikar sayd sherish hayichud shemekashrin umiyachtin hanogas koloi lamois elav yizbarach. That's the whole idea that I'm trying to bind together. The idea of the anhaga of the world is to Hashem. Shemaminim shu yizbarach melech umanig u'meishel ba'atzmai b'chol olam hagashmi hazeh umikol shekain b'chol olamis kula. That Hashem is in charge of this world, and of course Hashem is in charge of all of the world. Right? You were saying there, someone was saying the other day about Jupiter, right? That Jupiter is the one that takes out all the different things and protects America. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing that, right? Protecting Earth, right? Yeah. This goes around and it goes around. Kavanas ha'torah v'amitzvos, the whole seidus ha'kavanas shall call kisvei Arizal v'Zohar HaKodesh. And everything the Arizal wrote, everything Rabbi Shimon wrote, right? This is the month, we're coming into the month of Iyar, the month of Rabbi Shimon now, right? Everything he wrote was this idea to instill upon us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has Hashgacha Pratis in the world. All the teachings is to really make us understand this point. Isn't that fascinating? Rav Nosson is saying that everything the Arizal taught, everything that the Arizal was teaching based on the Rabbi Shimon and the Zohar, right? It's based on that. Everything is just to understand that Hashem controls everything. And nobody does anything without Hashem willing it to happen. Ki mevaya b'chol ha'asvarim shayrish kavanas kol ha'mitzvos hu liyached kutsha b'richu u'shchinte. The whole idea is to be miyached. When we say we do a mitzvah, we're just talking about the l'shem yichud, right? Before you do a mitzvah, you're saying l'shem yichud. In order for me to unify kutsha b'richu Hashem u'shchinte and the Shechina, right? What am I doing? I'm trying to unify Hashem with the Shechina. What is the Shechina? All of Nishmas Yisrael, right? All of Nishmas Yisrael together make up the Shechina Kedosh. I want to combine the Shechina together with Hashem.
Is that right?
Yeah. When you say Shechina, all Nishmas Yisrael makes up the Shechina.
Shechina rests in all of us.
Yes.
And when we're all together.
When we're all together, because we are part of the Shechina. That's why we have to have Achdus, because if we don't have Achdus, the Shechina doesn't have Achdus. Then Hashem doesn't have Achdus. That's why Hashem wants us to be together.
Like for the Nazis, like that they would seemingly get this point, like that they.
We're one. We are one people.
They had to
we are.
To burn, to get rid of each.
Because we are one people. They believe we were one people. He didn't care. This guy was a Hasidus guy. This guy was forget about it. This guy even converted to Christianity.
No.
Hitler didn't care.
But it's not even but he's right, because the guy does have.
Yes.
Yes. And if he does get together with other Jews,
he'll be fixed.
Yes. I mean,
that's what we learned in Hilchos Beis HaKnesses, right? The whole point to get everyone to come together. We want that Achdus. That's why it's such an important thing that we have Achdus. So important. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the whole October 7th to get us back together. Right? We were causing damage to the Shechina. So Hashem said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make emergency surgery here. Right? It's amazing, right? But I'm going to get you guys back together somehow. And all the Jews in the world, right? All Jews had nothing to do with Israel, nothing to do. Everyone at that time felt something for Eretz Yisrael. Every Jew, anywhere around the world, felt some connection, something to Eretz Yisrael, to the Jews, something, right? Amazing, right? Hashem wants Achdus. Hashem wants Achdus, okay? Shechina. Right? Before you do a mitzvah, you say L'Shem Yichud, right? We're counting Sefira. You start with the L'Shem Yichud, right? Yeah. Right? Why do we do that? Because that's the whole point. I want everyone to get back together. L'Shem Yichud Shabrichu Shchinte Hainu Ki Ikar Soid Hayichud De Kut Shabrichu Shchinte U Bechina Zeis is this idea of Achdus. One. Bring back Hashem together with everybody else. Right? And then we said the L'Shem Yichud, you're connecting back the Yud Kei Vav Kei together. Remember, we learned that? You want me to do it again? We'll do it one more time. L'Shem Yichud Kutsha Brichu U'Shchinte. Kutsha Brichu is the Vav. Is the Vav of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Okay? Shchina is the Hey. The last Hey. Okay? Shchina is the last Hey of Yud Kei Vav Kei. And then we say what? B'dechilu U'Rechimu. Right? With fear and love. Fear is the Yud, and Rechimu, the Ahava of Ahavas Hashem is the Hey. So when I make the Shem Yichud Kutsha Bricha, I'm bringing it all back together. I'm bringing the Shem of Hashem, the Yud Kei Vav Kei, back together as well. I'm unifying it. You understand? That's what we're doing. Okay. Ki bechinas hanhogas hanhoga havamalchus masha Hashem Yisborach mitzamseim atzmai kidei lashkiach ulahanig ha'olam zois habechina nikris malchus. That's what malchus is all about. Today's the day is the malchus of Gevura, right? Malchus. Hashem constricts himself to be part of this entire of the world, right? That's his malchus. Bechina shchina. If someone is kaifer in HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hashgacha, he's running of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, conducting everything in the world. Umafrid anhagas malchusay mimenu yizbarach, and he's taking away the malchus from Hashem because he says, "No, Hashem, you don't control me." Right? I run. The other day, you were saying the guy said the rabbi was talking in the class, right, Reb Simcha? You were in a class, right? And the rabbi was saying, and Hashem takes care of all business. And then the guy said, no, but I run my business. I'm a businessman. Right? I'm a businessman. I control my business, right? What was he doing? He was taking away from Hashem's Hashgacha Pratis in the world, right? Yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, who nargin mafred aleph, right? It's something causing to take away the alufay shalolim. Nargin mafred aleph, to take away from the alufay shalolim, which is Hashem. V'ki amonasay hakedosha hu she'enay ma'amin ki laHashem ha'malchus. Hainu shanhogas olam shehu bechinas malchus mekusha miyuchad elav is all connected back to Hashem. Ki hu levadei melech shalat u'meisha b'chol olam u'manik kol hakol b'hashgachosei levad. All through HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Hashgacha brought us in the world. Ve'emunah kedosha azois anu mamshichin al yedei mitzvah u'mitzvah. We can, every time we do another mitzvah and we say the L'Shem Yichud, we're reinforcing this. We're reinfusing this idea into us. Ki emunah kedosha azois hu yesod kol haTorah kulay. This is the sod, the secret, the foundation of all of Torah, all of the mitzvahs, right? And again, Shulchan Aruch starts Shivisi Hashem L'negdi Summit. Why? If I don't believe Hashem is with me, then why am I? Then I can do whatever I want, right? Hashem is up on high, right? We said what did the Kaifrim say? Hashem made the world, but He's so lofty. How can I say? Right? The Kaifrim say, "What? How can I say that Hashem? He's so important. He made everything, and I'm going to say that He's involved in my life. He cares what I do. Yes, He does. Yes, He does. Right? If a person says Hashem doesn't care, then he can do anything he wants. So that's why this is the yesod of all mitzvahs and of the entire Torah. As it says in Tehillim, David HaMelech writes, Kol mitzvaysecha emunah. All the mitzvahs are emunah. If not emunah, why am I doing them? Why would I do a mitzvah if it's not if I don't have the belief in Hashem? If I don't believe Hashem is watching what I'm doing, why would I bother doing any mitzvah? Right? Yeah. B'chol mitzvayseinu v'avodaseinu kidei lahamshich aleinu emunah hazois is all to bring upon us this emunah shu bechinas yichud kutsha brichu shchintei liyachad l'kasha anhagas malchusay elav yizbarach levad, to bring back the whole malchus all back to Hashem. That's what the whole point of everything that we're doing. And like we learned over here now, is so important that if a person doesn't believe and understand in Hashgacha Pratis, so then you don't have anything. You lose everything. right? If a person doesn't believe in Hashgacha Pratis, that Hashem is in charge of every little thing and nobody can do anything to me or to anybody without Hashem's will, that person doesn't have any connection to all of Torah. That's a pretty big statement Rav Nassim made, right? But that was the statement he made, and we should all believe that and know. And it's such a beautiful, empowering thing that we have Hashem empowers us with this belief that we can believe that He's in charge. And we can daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He looks back at us. Or HaYasha, or HaChayza. And that's what it's all about, the Or HaYasha and the Or HaChayza, looking back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay? So let's learn, what?
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is why we declare before performing a commandment for the unification of God and His Shekhinah. I don't remember that I'm doing that every time I perform a commandment.
Yeah, that's in your city where it says some say, that's the some say stuff, right?
Well, I see that there, but maybe I don't know what
Before you say Sefira, before you count Sefira, right? You counting Sefira?
Yeah.
So is there a
I
little?
say that,
Is there a
yeah.
little prayer before you say the Sefira?
Yeah.
Okay, before you put on your tefillin, there's a little prayer to say before you put on your tefillin.
Yes.
Okay, and there's a little prayer before you put on your talis.
Those I'm aware
Is
of.
there a prayer that you say before you shake the lulav?
Yes.
Is this prayer to say before you go into the sukkah?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the problem?
Like when I wrap my head.
When you wrap your
Is that a
head?
commandment?
When you wrap your
When
head?
I put the talis on.
Yes.
And
Before you put on the
I
talis,
say that-
you say that
I
some
say
say
that.
stuff, right?
Right.
Okay, so that some say stuff is the El Shem Yichud. You're making a unification. What does it say when you're saying that? You say I'm making a unification?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that's what you're doing. What's the problem?
So it's not a commandment to say the Shema? Are we doing it for there? Like in the,
You're saying it, yes, because before you daven,
Before
you're
you
saying the
daven.
brachas.
right.
And then you say the birchas kriya Shema. So that's a mitzvah, of course, it's all a mitzvah. The whole point of the Shema we just said is to believe that Hashem is the Melech up on high, down here. He's the king in all four directions, okay?
So sometimes we just say it ahead of time and it covers
It
what
covers,
comes later.
yeah, yes.
Okay.
You'll cover.
You're covered.
Okay, let's learn our halacha now, right? Because we said, what does the yetzer like to do? He likes to bring us suffix, right? So if you learn the halacha, you won't have any suffix in your, you won't have the doubt. So here we go. So we're in the middle of Hilchas Shmon Esrei, which is Yud Ches in Kitzer, and I think today we are up to 7. Okay. Here we go. Zion. Here we go. Lo yismaich atzmai al shum davar afilu smicha kol dehu. Right, when you're davening Shmon Esrei, don't lean on anything. Right? Don't lean on the wall. Don't lean on your stender. Don't lean on anything. Kol dehu. What does kol dehu mean? Nothing. Stand up straight. Now, again, if a person, we're not talking about a person has trouble standing, right? If a person is well, healthy, and well, so then he stands by himself. Okay, we're not saying that if chas v'shalom a person is not well and he can't and he needs to hold his stick or something else to help him stand, so then of course he can do that. Okay, and those we're not, you have to be able to do the mitzvah. Okay? If he's a little sick, right? Little problem, whatever he has. If the person is not well, he could sit when he says Shmon Esrei. You hear this?
A little bit.
A little sick.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah. Right. Even if you're not feeling 100%, you're not feeling 100%. Maybe you feel if you're standing, you may fall down. Whatever. Maybe the person's dizzy. I don't know. Whatever it is. A person may be well, but he's a little dizzy, right? So if he's standing, not leaning on anything, he may fall, right? The person's dizzy, he may fall. Correct? Right.
Doesn't have the energy.
And whatever the case
it
is.
yeah.
So you can either say the Shmon Esrei sitting or even lying down. The main thing is that he should be able to think about what he's saying. That I'm talking to you, Hashem. That's the main thing. If the person's worried about standing, then he can't think about, he's not going to be thinking to talk to Hashem. If the person is dizzy, whatever it is, and he can't think about it because he's worried that it's going to fall down. So of course, you do what you have to make sure you understand you're talking to Hashem.
On a plane, it's better to sit in the sitting.
Yes.
Because there's so many people that might be bothering you.
Then you bump into you.
Or whatever, the plane shakes, you might fall, you know.
So if you're in a plane and you're flying business class, so then you could stand in your little box over there. No one bothers you. No one's going into your spot. But if you're just a regular passenger, if you go in the galley, right? So then the stewardess is always yelling at you, sit back down, or the pilot decides to put on the seatbelt sign, right? Oh, and you middle of Shmoynes, yelling, go back to your seat. You're not allowed to do that. So just say l'chatchila, say the Shmoynes sitting in your seat with your seatbelt on. So then they can't bother you, right? If you're on a plane, right, you're going to say Shmoynes, you're better off sitting down in your seat, put the seatbelt on, so that no one can, they come by, they can't bother you. Right? There's nothing to bother you. You're sitting down, you're sitting in your seat, you got your seatbelt on, and daven. That's it. The whole point is that you can have Yishuv Adas. Just to daven to Hashem. That's the whole point, to have Yishuv Adas. Okay? K'moshe kosa b'chana. Oh, no, sorry, most of the way. But okay, Shehu yochel l'chav v'datem im efsher loy l'spalo b'piv. Look at this. And let's say the guy can't daven with his mouth. He can't say the words. Whenever he has something bothering me, I don't know what it is. Mikol mokayim yahara belibay. He should just think the words in his heart, think this, and yahara belibay in his heart, and say the words. So of course, if the person is well, stand. Don't lean on anything. If you can't do that, so sit. You can even lie down. Okay, of course you'll be able to lean on something if you can stand. But if you're leaning on something, standing, that's okay. So lean on the thing. And this way you'll be able to daven. Do that. Main thing is you have Yishuv Hadas. Okay, that's the main thing. I wish everyone should have a wonderful day. And we should remember today is Arba also Yom Shem Shnei Shavuos Omer, right? Today is the 14 days. If you didn't count the omer today, you still can count the omer today. If you hear this class within the day before Shkias HaKama of the day, wherever you are, and then make sure you count. Do not make the blessing if you didn't make this, and if you did, but you'll be able to make the blessing if you didn't miss the day the next night. Okay, so everyone have a wonderful day. Kol Tuv.